Hello and welcome to This Explainer. I am so thrilled you're joining me today because, wow, we are embarking on a truly profound journey. We're going to dive into a totally fascinating aspect of ancient Eastern philosophy. And the best part, it focuses on something we all literally use every single day, usually without a second thought: our speech. We'll trace the evolution of sound, starting from our totally mundane, everyday conversations, all the way up to its transformation into an actual, literal spiritual weapon. So this isn't just about communicating, It's about actually altering reality. Think about this for a second. What if the ultimate spiritual weapon is hiding in plain sight, right there on the tip of your tongue? It's kind of crazy to think about, right? I mean, we usually picture spiritual power as something super distant, maybe something that requires decades of isolation in some remote mountain cave. But the ancient texts we're unpacking today, they suggest something completely different. So let's just skip the traditional agenda today and organically build this narrative together. We're going to move step by step from practical, everyday advice into some truly deep, mystical secrets that can completely reframe how you understand human consciousness. Okay, let's dive right into this with our first major concept: the power of refined speech and the everyday magic it holds. Before we even touch the cosmic or the esoteric stuff, we've got to lay down the foundation of how we use speech in our regular daily lives, because the magic absolutely starts right here in our everyday interactions. The source text makes this really striking claim. It says that sweet, restrained, and refined speech is literally a captivation mantra. It uses this concept called Vashikaran, which essentially translates to a real-life captivation spell. So you can forget about magic wands. Just by making your speech pleasant and highly thoughtful, you are effectively casting a spell for everyday success. It's a total game changer for how we think about talking to one another. And look, when you wield this captivation spell of refined speech, the worldly benefits are incredibly tangible. I mean, it literally turns strangers into friends, and it naturally earns you the affection, respect, and cooperation of the people around you. Think about the last time you had a job interview, or maybe a really difficult conversation with your partner. By just elevating how we speak, we immediately open doors to continuous progress and uplift everyone in the room. Honestly, the whole shebang, from standard school education all the way up to complex spiritual discourses, it all relies entirely on this exact foundation of refined communication. But this is just the material world. Now let's transition into the spiritual shift. It's time to transform our ordinary words into something called Vak. We're climbing the ladder of self-knowledge now, leaving mere words behind to enter a completely different domain. Enter the concept of Vak. Now, Vak isn't just talking or speaking, not at all. As the source text makes explicitly clear, Vak is an intense psychological and physical alignment. It's this profound, almost perfect state where a person's mind, their spoken words, and their physical actions achieve complete excellence and total harmony. So the crucial point is, when there is absolutely zero separation between what you think, what you say, and what you do, that is when your speech transforms into Vak. This comparison is absolutely vital, and honestly, it brings a highly logical, almost mathematical equation to spiritual practice. On one hand, we have polluted speech. If a person's mind is arrogant, corrupted, or just full of deceit, any spiritual mantras they chant literally burn up. They yield zero results, period, no matter if you repeat them millions of times over the years. But if you align your speech into Vak, it becomes the Kamadhenu, which is the mythical wish-fulfilling cow, and the Brahmastra, an unstoppable spiritual weapon. With Vak, the source text assures us that any spoken mantra is undoubtedly and unquestionably successful. It's mathematically guaranteed. This perfectly aligned speech, it's considered the absolute lifeblood of spirituality. It's an incomparable human power. In fact, it's so immensely powerful that the text literally equates refined Vak to a deity. It states that all the miracles, blessings, and boons you could possibly receive from Goddess Saraswati herself, well, they can actually be generated by your own refined Vak. This kind of aligned speech is so potent, it's capable of shaking the material world and creating a massive flow of energy in the conscious realm. So how does this actually work structurally? Let's decode the myth and look at the 4 cosmic levels of speech. We're going to unpack a fantastic piece of mythology here to uncover a profound psychological framework regarding the nature of sound itself. And this brilliantly illustrates how ancient allegories hide deep scientific truths. So in mythology, the creator deity, Lord Brahma, has 4 phases, which manifests the 4 Vedas. But the text reveals this is actually an allegory for the upward-moving emergence of sound. It maps 4 cosmic levels. It starts at the very bottom with Vaikhari, the gross, physical spoken word. Then it moves inward to Madhyama, the mental or thought level. Deeper still is Pashyanti, the subtle, visual level of pure concept. And finally, Para, the transcendent, infinite source of sound. So the creation of the universe through 4 faces, it's essentially a map of how consciousness expresses itself through layers of sound. Which brings us to the true science of mantras. Let's look at the famous lotus stem metaphor to see how this operates practically. This is the final, most mystical phase of our explainer, how a mantra actually works inside the human body. Let's move to and see how this builds into a clear internal process. In the ancient myth, a lotus grows from Lord Vishnu's navel, and Lord Brahma travels down the lotus stem into the depths and then climbs back up. Well, the source text explains this is exactly what happens in mantra meditation. Step 1. The gross, physically spoken word, Vaikhari, descends deep into the depths of your inner consciousness, traveling down your own internal lotus stem. Step 2. That word churns the depths of your being and draws immense energy from the subtle source. And step 3, the word ascends back to the surface, but now it's carrying the profound, divine power of the subtle realm, Pashyanti. This is the ultimate climax of the process. When that word finally returns to the surface, it is no longer just a physical sound. The physical sound has met and ignited with pure spiritual energy. The text uses this beautiful, vivid analogy here. It says, this empowered speech acts exactly like electricity hitting a metal wire. Suddenly, that dead wire becomes live. The empowered word vibrates through all of creation. It electrifies the subtle world and completely transforms the individual, literally stripping away their ordinary nature and filling them entirely with divine power. So what does this all mean for us? I want to leave you with a powerful question for some deep self-reflection. When you talk to your friends, when you're at work, and especially when you sit down to engage in spiritual practice or meditation, are you just speaking empty words? Are you just vibrating a metal wire with absolutely no current running through it? Or are you doing the deep internal work to truly invoke the aligned, unstoppable power of Vak? At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Align your mind, refine your words, and unlock the ultimate spiritual weapon hiding right there within you. The power to change your reality, to captivate the world around you, and awaken divine energy. It isn't outside of you. It is waiting right there in the very syllables you speak. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this leaves you deeply inspired to explore the hidden power of your own voice. Keep learning, keep refining, and I'll catch you next time.